but you'd be better in a tent than not in a tent. And so, in a sense, the greenhouse gases are a bit like the tent. They keep a little bit of the warmth. And this is a natural occurring phenomenon that makes the Earth warm up by about roughly 30 degrees. So the Earth, without the greenhouse gases, would be much colder, much, much colder. And to be honest, very little life could survive. So the Earth, without the greenhouse gases, would be a pretty dead Earth. There would be no life, no animals, no plants, and so on. So the basic point is that there's this kind of, what happens when this radiation that comes in like that, it bounces back, but it bounces at a different frequency. So I was kind of going like this, very small frequency when it comes from the sun, and when it leaves the sun, it comes at a much wider frequency. And a lot more gets trapped in because it's at a wider frequency, and it gets caught by the greenhouse gas. So that's the basic idea, and as I said, it's a natural occurring phenomenon, and if you look, this is over thousands of years, So this is 450,000 years. So humans have only been around for 100,000 years. There are apes and so on that we evolved from, but humans have only been around in this period, really. Humans that use tools and all that. A bit more complicated than that, but more or less. So this is looking back nearly 500,000 years, and you see this is temperature. And the Earth, temperature, fluctuates. This is a period when it was very hot. This is another period when it was very hot. This is cold periods. So you see that quite recently, maybe 10,000, 15,000 years ago, it was very cold, and much of the Earth was frozen. And then it's got much warmer. Now let's look more closely. This is the last 1,000 years. The last 1,000 years, it's moved around, and then suddenly in the last 150 years, it started to get much warmer. And you see the temperatures increased by a degree. So you see what's happening is climate change is a naturally occurring phenomenon. However, this last 150 years appears to be quite special and is probably not a natural phenomenon, and it seems to be very much a man-made phenomenon. So you see, and if you look at here, I'll just go back to that slide to emphasize. This is the last 150 years. So from 1800, 150 years. And you see this dramatic increase in carbon dioxide concentrations. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, like the tent. If you make the tent thicker with more concentration, then it's going to keep more heated. And so the big debate is this carbon dioxide concentration a naturally occurring phenomenon or a man-made phenomenon? Well, you see that nitrous oxide concentrations, methane concentrations, everything increases very, very dramatically about 150 years ago. About 150 years ago, trains started running, industrial plants, iron making. The Basque Country was one of the largest producers of iron, and so obviously you need a lot of heat to manufacture iron. So using coal generates a lot of greenhouse gases, a lot of smoke. You see? So that's a lot of pollution. So basically the idea is that in the last 150 years, scientists agree now, there are always a few that will say no, but 90 99% of scientists will agree that the increase that we've experienced over the last 150 years in temperature is caused by human pollution, human activities polluting, producing carbon dioxide of this type. Okay? So that's an important thing, that it's a natural phenomenon, but it's also a man-made phenomenon recently. And what are we finding? This is projections looking the next 100 years. So this is 2000, this is 2100. So the next 100 years. What's going to happen? Well, it depends on carbon dioxide emissions. How much pollution is there going to be? What we know is that the concentration is going to increase. The concentration, so that, you know the tent I was talking about, the tent is going to get thicker. Even if we reduce pollution, for the next 50, 100 years, that tent is going to get thicker. Just because for the last 150 years, we've been polluting a lot. So there's an effect that's going to happen into the future as a result of that. What that means is that no matter what, the Earth is going to get warmer. Warmer by 1 degree to 5 degrees. And let me assure you, 1 degree on average warmer is a lot over on the planet. That's going to make a lot of changes. And that's going to increase sea level rising. Sea level is going to rise. Again, it might not seem like a lot to you. It might be 50 centimeters. But in countries, well, obviously the last country is near the coast, but there's some, when I was in Fiji, I was in the islands where the highest point was about this high off the water. So you imagine a country like that where the sea level rises by about that much. There's hardly any, there's pretty much no island left. So sea level can have huge effects. Climate change more generally is going to have lots of effects. As well as the sea level rising, this is a picture of New York, this is a dramatized picture of New York underwater. But also there's going to be a lot of more storms, a lot of weather changing, more wind, so this is Hurricane Katrina that destroyed New Orleans, and houses are going to be flooded by that. We're going to find the crops, so some areas are going to be drier. The areas that are dry, the places where they don't get much rain, are going to get drier. The places where it rains a lot, it's going to rain even more. I noticed, I was reading some statistic about the Ustiolas, that it rains 45 days out of 100. I don't know what it's like here, whether it rains a lot, but it rains a lot here. Well, it's going to rain even more. Yeah, so that's the thing. So that's going to change the crops. It's going to make the summers are going to be even hotter. The summers are going to be even hotter. This is Greenland. So the ice caps in the Arctic and the Antarctic are going to melt, which is going to put more water. All of this, animals are going to find it hard to find their habitats, so there's going to be an effect on the animals, and humans are going to get involved. There's probably going to be a lot of, there are going to be more wars, because there's going to be changes, conflicts over resources, so it's not necessarily good news. No, in fact, it's not good news. These just to give you an idea, the blue parts, this is China. So lots of China is going to get flooded. Lots of India, this is actually Bangladesh, and Pakistan, and parts of India. But a lot of people live on the coasts. A lot of people go fishing. In Europe, there's a lot of flooding area. It's hard to see exactly how much of the Basque Country is going to go into flooding. Okay. There's definitely going to be some problem. Florida's going to disappear. So these are what could happen over the next 50 or 100 years. We will have a new map. And again,